everybody, this is Ginger, and this is Ginger's chat show. Sorry I'm slightly late. Uh, Things are fun this morning. This is going to be a short live video because I'm watching the Artemis launch, and so I'm keeping an eye on it. And plus, I had to reason. The other reason why I was late was I was having trouble with my camera. My camera on my all one is way up there, and my seat does not sit high enough for me to be in line with the camera. And there, it only shows the top of my head. So, you have to do what you have to do, I guess. Anyway, we're discussing a couple of things today. This is my Wednesday feature. I don't really have a set, with this feature, I don't have a set production notes. I have some notes, but it's like a couple of things. And so it's not going to be very, very long. Um, let's see. Let me check something. Let me check here. Hold on a second. Before I forget, I'll remind you on Friday, because of my chat show on Friday. Let me check my thing. Check my, okay, I'll play it by ear on Friday. I go in to get my hearing aids. Hope to get purchase a set of hearing aids for myself. These are going out, and they don't always work well. And so I got constant ringing on this side of the ear, so enough to drive one batty. uh, but I am working on. I'm gonna be seeing my doctor this month and see if he can refer me to a ENT, ear, nose, and throat specialist within their network, and find out what I could do about the ringing in my ear and if there's anything that's happening that's causing this. Because when I told my audiologist, sometimes, once in a while, not all the time, but once in a while, this ear will pop and my hearing will go back up a little bit and there'll be silence. There'll be no ringing after it pops. Then it goes back to its normal ringing all the time. So I kind of wonder if something's not sitting on it. Inside your uh, ear, like the anvil behind the eardrum, that type of thing, the auditory nerve, whatever that's sitting on it. Um, so I hope to get that resolved. Um, I'll keep you guys posted on Friday morning whether I'll be doing my regular chat. I may do it later in the day. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. Now, let's get on to good things here. I assume a lot of you are watching this launch with interest right now, but this is going to be really quick. Um, as you, this is very, very rare for a U.S. president to interfere with court actions or try to interfere with court actions. Normally, presidents, a normal president, they don't. They let everybody do their job. He concentrates on his job. He doesn't sit there and micromanage. Trump is trying to micromanage everything. That doesn't work. Okay? Um, the court today held a hearing on birthright citizenship. According to right now in the law, in the 14th Amendment law, anyone who is born here on American soil, U.S. soil, is automatically a citizen of the United States. especially those that are born on armed forces bases. Okay, I was born on McChord Air Force Base, so it sits on U.S. soil, and I'm a U.S. citizen. Well, he's trying to make it where no one was born here directly on the U.S. soil. They can't be citizens, especially those on armed force bases that are born over, let's say, over in Germany. They can't be U.S. citizens. Well, I'm sitting there laughing. Trump, it's law. You can't change that. You have to go through Congress to change that. You have to amend it in the Constitution. You have to follow the Constitution. If you don't, then you're out of a job. Trump is going through all these things, okay? And the guy, he needs to be impeached. He needs to be removed now. Even Vance has gotten worse. Vance doesn't know what he's doing either, okay? And I think both need to be gone. The whole administration needs to be gone. We need professional people running our country on our behalf. We are the bosses, not them. We tell them what to do, not the other way around. Okay? So, uh, but the Supreme Court did rule on the, well, actually, a federal judge actually ruled on the ballroom. Guess what? He put a permanent injunction to stop construction on the ballroom. He said, nope, you're steward of the White House. You don't have authorization to do improvements. You have to go through Congress because Congress holds the purse. They're the ones that do updating and um, maintenance of the White House and the grounds. You have to go through Congress to get permission to do stuff on the White House. Okay, let me give you an example. If those that don't know, what's going on here. In 1953? Actually, it was late. It was in 1945, 1946 time frame. When President Truman took over for President Roosevelt, who died in office, he moved into the White House. Well, about, I think, 2.5, 3 years later or something like that. There was a grand piano, Steinway, fell through the floor into the dining room. The room upstairs is where the Steinway was, okay? They change rooms now. They, change the functions of each of the rooms sometimes. But anyway, the Steinway fell through. Well, it fell through the dining room, which was next door to the president's Oval Office. He heard a creaking and groaning noise, then he heard a big crash. President Truman went around to find out what was going on, what caused that. And here was the Steinway. The only thing damage it had was the one leg broke. And the ceiling was caved in. The dining room table itself was almost non-existent. Okay. And the beam was down and everything. So he went to Congress because he knew the rules on the stewardship of the White House. Went to Congress and said, hey, this is what happened. He showed them pictures of it and everything. And they go, yeah, I think we need to do a heavy renovation on the house, White House. White House was built in the early 1700s, or 17, yeah, it was started in 17, let's see, let me check something. Hold on a second. Let me get some information here. I just like to be accurate. Um, okay, the White House was started in the 1790s. Cornerstone was laid in 1792. James Hoban and had undergone several renovations since its completion. Um, let's see. It started in 1792. Um, no, that White House, well, it was rebuilt after the war, after the Second War we had with Britain. Um, but it was built in the 1790s, and then after, uh, in 1813, 1814, he was burned down by the British. When we had our second spat with them. And of course, when we beat them again, hi Dorothy, when we beat them again, it was rebuilt. Well, after 100 some odd years or so, um, it started to show its age. It had a fire. There were some areas that they did not attend to regarding the fire. They didn't check on. Of course, back then they didn't have the strong architectural engineering design or anything like that back then, like we do now. Um, anyway, President Truman got a consent from Congress that, hey, yeah, we need to rebuild it. It's been several things have been missed on it, not architecturally so much as engineering. And they had to totally gut the White House inside and then rebuild it. They redesigned it and built, well, they just put it back the way it was, but it was just stronger, much stronger. Um, the only thing they shown on the one side of the White House was when a cannonball hit it. Um, that was during the War of 1812. Um, but uh, Trump decided to ignore all that and he tore down the East Wing without permission. Well, he got in trouble for that. He got sued by the Congressional Historical Commission that gives permission for renovations and upkeep and everything else on the White House grounds. And also it covers the Vice President's residence over the observatory, the old Naval Observatory, is what it's called. Vice President lives there. But the judge ruled yesterday that there's a permanent injunction against this. He said no. You have to follow protocol and regulations. If you want to build a ballroom, you have to get permission from Congress. And you may have to redesign it. Right now, there's a permanent injunction against him on this. The judge told him no. Even the Congressional Commission said no. Because they did not follow the aesthetics of the White House design, the architecture of design of the White House. See, Trump doesn't follow rules. He's never learned how to follow rules. He never followed protocol. He doesn't follow the law. And this guy needs to be removed. Both him and Vance. Like over the weekend, we had the No Kings march, and it was massive protests all over the country, even worldwide. And people said, no, we don't need any more no kings. The only kings that are allowed basically had been there for centuries and has worked just fine for that country. England, Sweden, Denmark have worked just fine. They're constitutional monarchies, so they have to follow what the people want. But kings are still guide and suggest. They can put in suggestions, but they don't have full power over the people. It's they have a uh, parliament and everything else. Like in England, they have a parliament. They have the House of Lords, and then they have the Commons, or what they call MPs, and member of Parliament. They're equivalent to our House here, House of Representatives here. So Trump doesn't get it. He doesn't understand it. And I don't get why now that Vance is going bonkers. I think Congress now, they have the power. Congress has the power. They need to stop being afraid of Trump, be afraid of Vance, and be afraid of exit, and just impeach Trump. When Trump's is gone, the whole administration's gone, according to the 25th Amendment. Vance won't do the removal there either of Trump. He's too afraid of him. And Vance is a pipsqueak. He's a cowardly guy. And he didn't learn either. Okay? He doesn't protest, say, no, we can't do this. He's too afraid of Trump for whatever reason. And there's more and more Republicans in Congress that is leaving. They're not running for re-election. So the GOP is pretty much dead on their end. We need a new party in place. We need a party where we work together to solve the problems and issues that they know that they're aware of. And listen to the people. That's all we need to, that's what we need to work on. So, anyway, let's see, what else did I write down? As for the birthright citizenship thing, I think it's going to stay. Because the judge will say no there too. And I'm sure the Supreme Court will tell him no. Not going to happen. People that are born here, and those that are born, when immigrants move here and the kids move here, they should be automatically U.S. citizens. And the parents too. And, the guy just doesn't seem to get it when it comes to immigrants. Because he's forgetting that his grandfather was an immigrant that came over here in Germany, which I'm pretty sure it was illegal, but he came over here in Germany to avoid the draft, the compulsory draft over in Germany. See, over in Germany and Switzerland, you have a compulsory law that you have to follow. You have to be in the army or whatever branch of the armed forces to serve for 2 years. You serve in that. If you want to make a career of it, fine. If you don't, but you just serve the 2 years and did your stint and then go on to something else. But knowing Trump, he did not want to go to Vietnam, so he created this bone spur thing, which is a bunch of crock. And the doctor says, no, you don't have bone spurs. You're just too chicken, is what he should have said. And the parents should have said, you're going, whether you like it or not. Um, but his dad made very poor parental advice and say don't take responsibility for your actions. You need to take responsibility for your actions, Trump. You have to be an adult about it. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I will post this on my YouTube channel, and I will see you later. Take care. I will be on, I will keep you posted for Friday, and hope I get my new hearing aids by then. Um, and I will see you later. So be sure to insist, persist, and push back. Don't let anybody tell you different. And the MAGAs need to start waking up and start really ask themselves, are they any better under Trump? I'll bet you 2 to 1. No, they're not. Not as everybody else. Okay. All right, I'll talk to you later. Have a happy April Fool's Day. And by the way, I'm not kidding. So, anyway, take care. See you later, Dorothy. Love you. Okay, bye bye.